Here we go. What's up, my people?
What's up, guys?
Welcome to Podcast X, Y, and Z.
We're here.
The world's number fun video game podcast. Andrew, we are a month into Media Interactive.
We made it.
It's been a month.
It's been 1 month. Did you just
I don't need you to high five me to feel good about it.
He just high-fived himself to everyone listening.
I am so excited and blessed by this endeavor. It has been so fun. Shout out to our patrons that are joining live. Shout out to everybody that is joining live.
Yeah, if you're tuned in, we're going to do a giveaway halfway through this episode, so Caleb can show off. It is a Fortnite poster, so getting really excited for that. If you're in the chat, if you're watching us live, please let us know who you are so I can add
9:30 p.m.
9:30 Eastern Time. If you're listening to this, and more reason to freaking join our stream.
And feel free to just chat with each other and make friends throughout this podcast.
That's true.
We're going to talk about some news, not just video game news even.
Wait, what?
We have a couple news items. It's been a slow news week because it's been a big news week in one way.
Sense,
in one way.
Oh.
Well, that's Red Dead Redemption 2.
What?
Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's out.
And we're going to talk about
live.
it. But we are going to go a little bit different way to start.
You guys okay with that? We're going to do it. We're just going to...
It's not going to be video games. It will be media. We will interact over it. Wow. But it will not be video games. The movie industry, Andrew.
Okay.
We're talking about it. But it's not the first time we've talked about it.
Where else have we talked about it?
You and I have finished our first episode of Podcast Remastered.
It is awesome.
And it was so much fun for us to do. Tier 3 patrons over at patreon.com/Media Interactive get that episode every month, once a month, where we break down TV, we break down music.
It's great. Music.
And we went on a tangent on faith that was so cool. And we'll see.
And you're going to get a handwritten letter, so...
We are going to work on our letters for the month, exclusively for our patrons. And next month we got tons of cool stuff coming.
We'll get to that
at the end.
We'll get to that.
But let's get to some news. If you are chatting, welcome. We love you. Giveaway will be at 9:30. Feel free to chat and talk about what we are saying. News item number 1.
Here we go.
Disney
has
officially campaigned for Black Panther to be included in 16 Oscar-nominated categories.
Okay.
With Avengers, Infinity War, is that the most recent one?
That is.
In only one Oscar-nominated category.
So I'm going to put you on the spot real quick.
Yes.
What does that even mean?
What this means is Disney...
How do you campaign? How do they have to campaign?
Yes, so the Hollywood industry, the way Oscars are won, they're all voting for each other, for what is the best of all that we've done. So Disney and the way all these movies are made are marketed and advertised and considered for certain awards. So you essentially elect different shows.
Okay.
So Disney is strategically saying Black Panther is a more powerful movie stance for them, and they want it to get more awards and more attention than Infinity War, Avengers, even though Avengers was effectively a bigger movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's not that surprising when you think about what Black Panther did.
Sure.
As far as, the cast being different and the response being so incredible for that superhero, for that story.
Right.
It's a little bit different than the cliche Avengers.
So did they have to choose... Like they have a limit or something?
So basically, the maximum amount of Oscar awards Avengers Infinity War can win is 1. Because it will not be included.
But they just included Black Panther and everything.
They full send Black Panther. Disney is saying
technically they could win 16 Oscars.
Exactly. Yes. Wow. Yes. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
That's very interesting because the scale of Infinity War, and all the Star Wars movies, get the score, the main prestigious Oscar awards don't come from Star Wars movies. They don't come from Avengers movies, right? It's always a side thing where a Bryan Cranston has done something very creative.
Sure.
But those movies are often, thrown out there because of the amount of money they make.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Disney is choosing between Giant number 1 and Giant number 2 because Black Panther did way better than anybody was thinking.
Yeah.
But it's not 8 and 8. They are putting their eggs in one basket effectively for this season's Oscars.
Yeah.
I don't personally care about the Oscars too much, but how do you read that?
Yeah, I think so. Is this also the year where they're doing a blockbuster category? Are they doing that this?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I heard something. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I heard something they were gonna do like a category just for big summer movies that didn't have any real plot like Mission Impossible kid out there. Also, Mission Impossible is a pretty good movie. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think that I'm not surprised, but I feel like 16 is a lot. I feel like 16 is. I feel like they should have the limit to be less than that.
Right.
Because to me, it's almost like we all know the big impact Black Panther had.
Right.
We all know how amazing it was, the cultural impact. And I'm not trying to like talk it down, but at the same time, like to put it into 16 categories is to say like we need all of this.
I think it's going to hurt it more than help it because they're not saying we trust this Oscar category that we did good in. They're basically just throwing it out there, throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Why don't we nominate Black Panther for everything and see if any of them win? Whereas I would feel a lot better if Disney was like, hey, we believe, I don't know the main guy's name, but we believe in him. So we're going to have a couple categories that we want to pursue, and main actor in a drama or movie or whatever is one of them.
Yeah.
There would be more meaning to the nomination if there were less of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know the specific one Infinity War is up for. It's probably sound or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting, especially because at first I would have been like, what does that even mean? Who cares? But it made headlines today and yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they were basically saying, as big as Avengers is, Hollywood isn't too fond of it. You know, Hollywood responded to the Black Panther.
Yeah, right.
Which does make sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting, and I didn't know the awards culture was like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna say, here's what we did in 2018.
Yeah.
What do we want to put up front as this was us?
Yeah.
We also did Avengers, and over here, but this was us.
Yeah.
Look at us. Look at this.
Which I guess my question is like, how do you think? I mean, obviously at some point, like my question would be like, how do you think the actors on Infinity War feel that they rather put Black Panther up 16 times? Like, I mean, I guess at the end of like the bottom line is they're getting paid a ton of money anyways.
Yeah.
But do you think that like some of the smaller ones in Infinity War feel offended by that?
And that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
I also like, what's the overlap between those movies?
What do you mean?
They're all Marvel, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, are people like in one boat or the other, or is it all like is everyone just cool with it? I don't really know.
We have some information from the chat. The Academy still picks the nominees from those that were submitted.
Okay, so these aren't the final ones that you would see air.
Okay.
The choices are between these people. This is Disney saying submit.
Okay.
It's the initial round of
But the
submissions.
Academy still has the bottom line say. But yeah, I mean, I think the point still stands that they still threw all the eggs into Black Panther.
No, exactly. It's
Yeah.
still significant,
Yeah.
but it's just let's hope it doesn't get shot down, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I don't know what caliber awards still play to filmmakers from watchers because I feel like every year there's a sort of a whole like almost small controversy around it of like, should we care about this again?
Yeah.
Should we do this? But I guess it's interesting to think about when we have like huge movies that you've waited years, because I remember like Infinity War is like a build-up of almost like 10 years, and then a standalone movie comes out and just takes 16 of the nominations. That's also cool to show how much of cultural impact and significance Black Panther has had.
Right. I think it's great.
And it's also, I think it's crazy that movie came out in 2018.
And that's what's so weird about the award cycle is every time I watch an award show, I'm like, that was this year?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just...
The Black Panther seems like it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But that was this year, which is insane. It's insane that Marvel had, in the same year, Infinity War and Black Panther.
Right. And that's why I don't go to any of those movies, Andrew, because it's too much.
I know. But yeah, you're
I'm in the minority.
Superhero.
I'm in the minority. I know that.
You're just the Dark Knight superhero fan. Yeah, I think that... Yeah, so I think that it will get 4 or 5 nominations. I agree. Like, I think that...
Within reason, right?
And I think it's something similar to, and we won't want to get into our big conversation right now, but in a passing conversation, Caleb had mentioned if Rockstar Games doesn't get Game of the Year for Red Dead, it's kind of disappointing. I almost feel like if they put Black Panther out for 16 and they don't hit 4 or 5, that would be disappointing.
Right.
Do you feel like that's like a similar thing to say?
And I think that's why they did it.
Right.
They said we want multiple Oscar wins, so when we do a Blu-ray extended edition release, we can say it won 5.
Yeah.
No one's gonna say we nominated it for 500.
Yeah.
But it got this many, or it got nominated for this many, because that's what they market that now. That's a marketable thing. Nominated for this. The Academy loved it enough to at least say, we'll consider it, right?
Right.
So that's the thing.
That's
But,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. And
Something
the
to look forward to.
the Golden Globes had the lowest viewership ever.
What are the Golden Globes?
They are the TV and
right.
movies. It's a smaller venue,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think it's movies plus TV. I don't know. Emmys is TV, Oscars is movies, Golden Globes is like, let's have another award show.
This is why we stick to video games, guys, because all these things we're related. Like we're just trusting you guys in the chat because we don't know.
I automatically get Xbox trophies and awards just for playing the game. It pops right up.
I got an Oscar for Xbox, so
yeah.
But
There you go.
The Oscars are interesting. Award ceremonies.
Classic Disney, right? And there's no Star Wars this year, so I care less and less about that news. But I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
News item number 2.
Here we go.
Podcast X, Y, and Z. PlayStation Classic is coming out. I think it's December. It will launch. And what this is a brand new console that is identical in every sense of the word to the PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
The original PlayStation.
Okay.
It will be smaller, it will be HDMI, and it will basically be a modded, nostalgic cell. Like new Ataris are nowadays, like the classic Nintendo that you see nowadays.
Sure.
And so basically they're bringing it back and remastering not just games, but a console.
Mm-hmm.
Shipping for $99. And
but you can't use old PlayStation.
No, it only works with what is on it.
Why does it make sense?
Because they're emulating it as software. Because there's no disc. The actual console is like this big.
Okay.
And so it's very much you're accessing what they decide to.
So it's like what you have
digitally.
on the Switch, where you can play old games.
It literally is.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just exactly like that.
It is exactly like that, except instead of a monthly or yearly subscription to an online service, you buy the box.
Sure.
20 games.
We have the list here.
Launch with it. So if you grew up on PlayStation or you have played any of these games, these are what are coming out, and I am familiar with some of them. Yeah. And I'm just going to be reading some and be like, I don't know what any of these words mean.
We both. Okay.
20 games. Here we go. 1. Battle Arena Toshinden.
No,
2. Cool Borders 2. Cool. That's great. 3. Destruction Derby.
Nice.
Final Fantasy 7. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Draught Auto. The first one. Intelligent Cube.
Sounds interesting.
Yep. Jumping Flash.
No, thanks.
Metal Gear Solid.
Big.
OG. Okay. Mr. Driller.
Yeah,
nah.
no, thanks.
Oddworld. No.
Yeah.
Original Rayman.
That's very cool.
Okay. That's cool. Resident Evil Director's Cut.
I like that.
People are going to like that. Revelations.
I've heard of that, but
Persona. I haven't necessarily heard of that.
Yeah.
Ridge Racer Type 4.
Of course.
Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. That is so dumb to me. Let's stop and talk about that for 10 to 12 seconds because that just seems like a word jumble somebody threw up on a keyboard. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. It reminds me when Rocket League was called Super Power Battle Cars on PC. Do you remember that?
No, I'd never heard of that.
Feel free to look it up and prove me right now because on PC,
Rocket League had a different name.
Used to be called Super Power Battle Cars in Space or something weird. Anyway, it's just a bunch of jumbled words. Moving on. 16. Number 16. Siphon Filter. I don't know what that is. Tekken 3. That's a fighter game, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Okay, that's big. Twisted Metal. I don't know what that is. And Wild Arms. I don't know what that is.
So we said whoa to like 5 or 6.
Yes, and it's always the original.
Which is still out. Pretty cool idea.
Yes.
Do you think this sells?
I do think it sells. I know it already has, as far as pre-orders are concerned.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Especially for people that are, late 30s, 40s, are like, okay, this is cheap, this is fun, and it's a good Christmas present.
Say that. This is like...
A dad can say, whoa, look at this, and then 2 weeks it'll be broken or gone or whatever.
Yeah, if you are our age and you have a parent who has gamed, this is your gift to them.
This is your gift to them.
Because now that you have...
PlayStation Classic.
Yeah, it's...
So then the controller is identical. There are no joysticks.
Yeah.
It's just the D-pad and the buttons. There was no Xbox at this time, so this was the video game system. You had a Nintendo, not even a GameCube at that point, I don't think.
Yeah. So here's my hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take, but this is what we do this podcast.
Here's your warm take.
This is my lukewarm take.
Yes.
I think that this is where Microsoft shines. As of right now, if the world ended right now, this is where I would stand and saying Microsoft shines in this one aspect. Because to me, on the Switch, to me, on this PlayStation, it's a cash grab. It's, let's sell something that we know you're going to buy, and let's make you pay for it because we know you're going to buy it. Because we have these games like Grand Theft Auto 1. Your dad played it, you played it, you're going to play it, you're going to buy it. Microsoft has been nice enough so far to say, we know you love these games, let's bring them back. Let's just say you can play them. If you have them already, go ahead and put that disc in. It'll work. If you don't, go to GameStop and pick it up for $2.
Yeah.
And this is where I think that you're almost like paying people to relive something instead of remembering, or like instead of enjoying the present.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like, here's all the new things we have, here's the good things, we're gonna say let's pay for something you paid for already 10 years ago, and let's make it a novelty, make it like unique, and you have to have a collector's idea. Like, I don't see it like as a good thing.
No.
And I think that's why I'm happy in this. I know I'm biased to Microsoft, but I think that's one aspect I just feel like is it's gonna sell.
Yeah.
But like if they came out with an original
Ideally,
Xbox, I don't know if I would want to do that.
Especially now because we have what we have.
Correct.
And the reason we have what we have, Andrew, is because Microsoft needed something at E3 2016. They needed it.
Correct.
And they got it.
Correct.
Backwards compatibility, remastered games, and now Game Pass. All those Xbox games are free to play.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. But big picture, I love that it's happening. Video games are out, you know?
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see.
You can play anything.
And if I come across one in life, I'd be like, I want to try that.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. You can't say no to that.
Yeah.
We have a comment.
Yes.
Did you all go to Twitch?
Rosser. Shout out to Rosser. He's a patron.
Did we?
I watched.
That is, I
heck
didn't
no.
go.
No. I watched it with him, though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, on our phones. It was like a Fortnite tournament.
So,
did the Fortnite tournament happen at TwitchCon? Do you know?
I do not know.
Rosser, do you know?
Rosser, let us know.
That was part of TwitchCon. It was the official, because it was a worldwide.
Yeah, no, it was pretty big. I saw some YouTube streams on it. Like, what were your takeaways from it?
It was wild to watch. You know, I had a hard time getting super invested in it. It was just fun to watch it with him and chill and be like,
just flashy.
Yeah, just flashy. The TwitchCon presence that I saw was on Instagram. I follow a lot of people in the industry, so it was their take on a lot of different stuff. TwitchCon was not a lot of developer reveals or releases. It was strictly fans and
Ninja
money prizes. Yes, it's not like Gamescom or it's certainly not E3 or anything like that.
Is this new? Am I saying that wrong?
I think it is.
Okay.
It certainly is new being this big and legit because Twitch has their own Twitch and they have their own identity.
It's interesting.
So
that's cool.
Final week of the fall skirmish happened to end at TwitchCon. So the tournament ended there. Thank you,
That's
Rosser.
lucky. So for the future, we hope maybe one day we'll be able to go to TwitchCon. But we'll definitely be watching it. But
and I want to go to E3.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, that's a bucket list item on mine.
Oh,
that would be so fun.
That would be very fun. So
Final
PlayStation
news.
Classic.
Yes, PlayStation Classic.
Final news.
Final news item.
Oh boy.
Moving into the topic of the show.
Also, a giveaway. 14 minutes.
Yes, 14 minutes to the giveaway. Okay. We're going to talk about this news item, and then we will jump into how that leads into the topic for the show.
Here we go.
When there's a break, we will do the giveaway, and then we'll finish out the show. But news item number 3, Andrew.
All right.
Main article on actually several video game outlets, not just IGN, not just GameSpot, but people are effectively saying these words in this order, and it is this. Headline. Not everybody likes Red Dead Redemption 2.
Not everybody.
Not everybody likes Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, at first glance, okay, duh.
Which also it's helpful to know that IGN has rated this game 10 out of 10.
People have given this game perfect scores, and the launch hype was real, but now people are seeing areas of the game and this is like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes it because it comes across as if everybody loves it.
Even without even talking about the game, even just the idea of this article being out, isn't it crazy that it's not even been a week?
I know.
And it kind of feels like this whole thing has felt like a year of worth of... Because, I mean, think about it. Like, when we started talking about Red Dead, it was like, guys, get ready.
Yeah.
It's coming. Might be the game. It was just overhyped. And then within a couple of days, you're hearing not everyone likes it. And at the same time, it feels like the game has already been out for so long. Because that's just like what AAA titles do. You know, they come out, they make big waves. But this feels like a long time has been passed, but it's only been... The game came out Friday.
And within 24-hour news cycles that we live, it has its own highs and lows.
It's crazy, right?
I mean, you could take a nap, and their stock would go up or down. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah, which is why we kind of cover these things, because the coverage itself is kind of a game. It's like almost like a whole other being.
And you're seeing why I love video games so much.
Yeah.
I follow this stuff. Yeah. I get tired of playing the game.
So this is my other point too. Without even talking about the game, is the satisfaction we get from doing this as opposed to playing a game.
Yes.
And so I just find it fascinating because almost like the weeks leading up to all of the big releases have been So exciting for us.
Yes.
So exciting to be able to share it with you guys. So exciting to be able to talk about it, to listen to you guys and what you guys like. But then you kind of get there and it's like, I just want to talk about the next thing, you know? And I'm not saying that it negatively affects enjoying games. It's sometimes like the culture around these releases, the culture around fall releases, Christmas, Black Friday is so big.
Yeah.
That when you get there, you're like, nothing could live up to
right
what we just like covered for the last couple weeks,
right,
months, a decade to make this game.
And let's say I'm strictly a consumer of video games and I go out and buy a $60 game, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. That is so easily a waste of money. But for me to say, okay, now I can channel my passion for what's wrong, and I can say, how do I make it worth it?
Yeah.
Like, I can talk about it, and I can say, here's what I did not like about that game, which we will get to.
Yeah. So let's talk about what the article said before talking about what we think.
Yes.
So the article was saying, it was a video, talking about why people don't like it. The biggest thing right now is people are talking about how slow it is. And so the people on the video were talking about travel between things, talking about bounty systems. I don't remember any other thing else that I'm missing from the coverage of that specific video.
Basically, the reason it is getting perfect reviews is because of how realistic it is. But after playing for some time and for seeing the progression system in place, is it too realistic to the point where you get tired or you get frustrated? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is what people are saying.
Yeah.
Is I don't maybe like this the way they did that, the way I have to do that. Because ultimately, you do want to escape reality a little bit and have a fun video game experience.
Yeah.
And if it's ultra realism and the graphics that look flawless are great.
Yeah.
But what about gravity mechanics and realistic needs of a character? Like it can get cumbersome. And so people are basically saying, I love how much I love how much there is to do, but I hate how much of it I have to do.
Yeah. No, definitely. No,
there's a learning curve.
Yeah. So now my question is, if Rockstar doesn't make this game, if some studio you've never heard of makes this game, if some studio you've never heard of makes this game, it comes out in 3 years and not a decade to make, does it hit perfect scores?
I think it would hit. It's so funny you say that. I don't think it would hit perfect scores.
Okay.
But what I think would happen is it would hit high 8s, low 9s out of 10 and ultimately get better response because it would be buzz slowly.
Really? Okay.
Instead of hype.
All right.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
This game launches perfectly, and then people say, "Well, wait a minute. Are we Rockstar fanboys here?
Okay.
Some of this stuff I don't like."
All right.
If some nobody launches this game, I would be freaking out at how great it is.
Really?
I'd be like, whoa.
Okay.
Some scrub made this game. It looks beautiful.
Okay.
It feels beautiful.
Sure.
I wouldn't. Again, the standard is lower, so the response is higher.
Yeah.
When people were like, the Star Wars movie was bad, I said, imagine you were laying on your couch flipping through the channels.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It happened to go on TV. You'd be like, well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. When I immediately thought about that question, I thought to myself, if I was handed this game and I knew nothing about it, the simulator aspect of it would make me mad enough that I think this the idea of, like, for me, comparing it to GTA makes it better. And so I was immediately talking out of hesitation to say, like, the slow parts of the game might appeal to some people, but to reach a wide audience, the same people that play GTA, and if you haven't played GTA, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of GTA, but if you haven't actually played a GTA game, it's all about quick satisfaction. You jump in, you press up on the D-pad, you have a Lamborghini.
You start doing stuff.
And you just blow something up, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so if you take a wider audience like that, and you put them into this funnel of expectation, you say, like, the fun that you had is now doubled in size. Like, the maps are bigger, the activities to do are bigger and better. Like, I don't know, for me, like, my, not counter to that, but my almost, like, wanting to be on the other side is saying, like, doesn't that, like, force people to like the game a little bit more?
Yeah.
As opposed to just some rando gives you this game, you're like, I don't want to ride this horse.
Right.
But I don't know. And that's a good thing to say also is, I think sometimes if you go in blind, which is our reason for honestly liking The Witcher 3 so much.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that is fair.
I think there's a threshold and a window of where that would help or hurt it.
Yeah.
As far as, the GTA nostalgia is going to make me appreciate it, but then it has to follow GTA 5.
Yeah.
There's bittersweet. There's good and bad.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is so interesting.
Yeah.
And now it's just so interesting because it's praise this game. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know?
So
it's so funny to see.
Yeah, and we talked about a little bit, but do you think the score changes? Do you think IGN changes the score?
No, I don't.
Okay.
They will forever defend their word for a perfect game. Every score they give is one word.
Mm-hmm.
Many sites stick to that recipe.
Yeah.
Theirs is masterpiece.
Yeah.
Theirs does not say perfect.
Okay.
And they embrace that and they chase it.
Yeah.
Because if they start throwing the word perfect around, people will send them a screenshot of a glitch. So how dare you? You know, there's no such thing as a perfect person. There's no such thing as a perfect game. But as far as games go, this is a 10 out of 10. And I believe it. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change. It stays the
same. It does not change.
I think that
it does not change.
So many consequences would come if they changed that score.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like,
it would be...
do you think that Rockstar could sue for that? Because they've used it in their marketing enough that, like, if the company says something, if they go back on their word, do you think that they have rights to sue?
They would have rights to sue, but they wouldn't. They would just roll with the marketing they already have, which is IGN 10 out of 10.
Games Radar 5 out of 5.
And at this point, Andrew, I think as big as this launch is, IGN can't go back in and change the score. There's probably stuff in place.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Changing scores is possible, but it requires communication.
Yeah.
Um,
so it's staying at a 10. It's staying at a 10.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I ultimately get it. And so let's dive into the breakdown of this game, Andrew, and get our own thoughts. Okay? You want to go ahead?
Let's do it. Okay, so if you haven't played the game, if you don't know anything about the game is a Western thriller set in 1899 in America. It's fictional, but there's elements that remind you of real-time America history. I'm noticing a lot of drops about racial tensions, about technology. It's interesting to me that the game includes, I don't know, they just like talk about that stuff. So you can see some narrative of history, but at its core, I would say the game is a sandbox adventure game like Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
So we can start with a tutorial because that might be a helpful place to start. So when you load in the game, we've been waiting, we've been talking about it, we've been covering it for so long, and all of a sudden the game loads up and it's snowing. I mean, everything is covered in snow. You can't see. You have no idea who you are, who your compadres are. You don't know anything, and you're told you can't move fast, and you're told you have to walk very slowly, and you're told you have to listen to the same cutscene again and again. And we were talking like Grand Theft Auto's tutorial was like 10 minutes. It was like one heist, wasn't it? You just got on the heist and then you go on out and you found the other two people.
Yeah, and you were in a car right away. You're moving around fast.
You're moving around
and that's
fast.
racing. It's different.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So the tutorial.
Yeah.
Well, it just throws you in and it's a little too slow for me.
Too slow for me. Okay, so that's my first problem I have with it is the tutorial. And it's funny that the game reviews came in so positive and now people are leaning negative because my experience with the game has been the exact opposite.
Yes. Yeah.
With the tutorial.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to do a hard pause here because it's time to do the giveaway.
Oh.
I know we leaked our thoughts on Red Dead a little bit, but we have to pause.
We have to pause.
And do the giveaway. Okay. So if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, I put it up in the camera. I'll do it again.
How are people eligible for this giveaway?
If you are a patron.
What?
Meaning you support us for $1, $2, or $3 a month.
That's crazy.
You become eligible for all sorts of giveaways.
Wow.
One of our patrons earlier this month won $10 to Xbox Store, and now somebody is going to win this bad boy.
If you're listening, it's a beautiful Fortnite poster.
2.5 foot by 1 foot decal of Fortnite.
It's a decal.
It's like a decal. It like peels off.
It peels.
I think so. Yeah.
Whoa.
I think so. So our partners at Amazon were so grateful
to
give us this in exchange for the money I gave them.
Wow.
They sent us.
We're sponsored, people.
This poster.
By Fortnite Amazon.
Amazon cared so much about what Media Interactive is doing that in exchange for my money, they sent us this in a package.
So all I'm hearing, Caleb, is reasons why people should sub to our channel.
Yeah. Sub to our channel, dude. Next month we're going to be doing more giveaways. We're eventually going to start designing t-shirts and memorabilia to be giving away.
So this is just the tip of the iceberg, though.
Tip of the iceberg, bro. There it is right there. This might as well say tip of the iceberg, but they misspelled it. It just says Fortnite. We're going to roll with it.
All right,
okay?
so
disclaimer. Right now, Andrew,
yeah.
I know personally all of our patrons.
Uh-huh.
which is great. I love that we have launched. We're a month in. Thank you guys so much for your support.
Yeah.
Some of them are my family. All of them are close. We all know each other.
Wait, what?
And I know it can get a little cloudy of like, oh my gosh, like giveaway bias is like who knows who. I knew our first giveaway person personally. People like, oh, like you gave it away to Jake Adams, like what like no one even likes that guy. And that's just not true. He's a wonderful guy. And I love him. But he won, okay? And so we're gonna see who wins, and I'm gonna let you take control over who wins the Fortnite decal with the understanding that there is so much more to come.
Guys, this is exciting for me. This is my first ever giveaway. We're doing it live.
I wish it like
for you
around my
guys.
shirt.
So to let you guys know that this isn't some ratchet setup. I've got a random number generator here. Set the minimum to 1, obviously, and the max is to how many patrons are on. If you are listening to this later, just watch our YouTube stream. Just sub to us, patreon.com/mediainteractive. It'll be
This is where it all happens live.
It's awesome. So we've got 4 patrons. Here we go. I'm going to set values to each one. Here we go, guys. Can we get a drum roll in the chat, please?
Drum roll in the chat. How are they going to drum roll
Number
in the
3.
chat?
Who is number 3? Oh my gosh. Can it be? It is... Dun dun dun. Rosser Serbo!
Rosser! You won it, dude!
Oh my god. Wow.
That is so awesome. That was who I was like low-key rooting for.
Random number
Rosser Serbo. You get this, dude, and I will hand deliver it. I'm not paying for postage. You will get this poster. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Thank you guys for tuning in for the giveaway. We'll be doing lots more of that.
Lots more. So that was 2 giveaways this month, Andrew. There will be more to come for sure.
Wow.
But that is great.
That's
I'm excited for you.
My adrenaline's up. I'm ready to talk about Red Dead.
That's so great.
I'm ready to just get in there.
Yes. So let's get back to that.
Right.
Rosser, thank you so much for supporting us. I will get you your Fortnite decal.
Wow. So here's what I love about the game.
Okay. Red Dead.
I love hunting.
Yes.
I love
thank you.
The world. The world is a living world. The world. So I'll just preface it. This game is the prettiest game I've ever seen. And my eyes have never seen anything more beautiful. I mean, the world, it's America, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I find myself liking the slow aspects of the game in that sense so that I can just take it all in. I can ride my horse and just get off and look out and say, like, I can literally go anywhere I look.
Yes.
It's like the old Lion King saying, you know, like, all of this is my kingdom. I can look at it and say, this is mine. I also like the random encounters. I like that people inhabit the world, and I love that animals inhabit the world, and they all interact in some weird algorithm that says they all are real.
Yeah.
And I buy into it, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am playing,
we were playing it.
a game. And it's like a real time. And we were hunting a bear earlier today.
Oh my gosh.
Before this podcast started, we had played at least 5 to 6 hours of it.
Yeah, we were together playing here.
Some of the most intense moments were that, like, nature in the world. No one had scripted anything.
And we were outside of the story.
Yeah. We were just like
making our own story.
And we were crawling up this mountain, and you hear this growl that will send chills down your spine. And then you have to take out a gun and try to do something about it. Yeah. And it's terrifying.
And I loved it. And one of our patrons and my younger bro, Silas, him and I have been playing a hunting game on Xbox.
Sure.
And its whole selling point is realistic hunting. And this game surpasses that as a side feature. That there will be a developer that makes exclusively a hunting game, and the side hunting in Red Dead is actually better and more fluid. That you track animals, and it's just so fun to be on horseback and chasing them.
Yeah.
Because GTA, you could hunt, but it was so silly. It was pretty silly. Because you're a criminal driving around, and you happen to shoot animals, but you were kind of just a criminal. It was just gross. This is in the wild in the early 1900s.
You needed to survive.
And you're making pelts, you're cooking food.
Right.
And it's just fun. It feels fun. And so to go from the tutorial that I had problems with, and I would actually look at my phone while it was going on.
Yeah.
To that, where the world opens up, the snow goes away, and it literally felt like a breath of fresh air to me.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting to see why now that it's a 10 out of 10. Now with that, Andrew, we still don't always know what we're doing in the game.
And that's a problem, because when you have a game that has so much, it's kind of hard because you don't want to, almost like lead the player by hand. but you have to choose almost. You have to prioritize what to tell the player, and sometimes they just prioritize dumb things.
Yeah.
And like when we were riding around, your screen kept telling you your animal was decomposing and you needed to skin it. Whereas we could have liked to hear, where do we go to sell this thing?
You have to
What do we
figure
do
out
with it?
so much.
How do we then go from there and to do this? Instead it tells you, hey, you should probably eat and shave, which is helpful information, but I need to know like game mechanics. I need to know how to advance my character. I don't really want to know how to shave.
Yeah.
I can figure that out probably.
Right.
And so there's a whole idea of fast travel that is unlocked that they don't tell you unless you go seek it out.
You have to look it up elsewhere, and it's cumbersome and it's a lot. There's a companion app for your smartphone to be your map, to be your heads-up display, which is great, and I love that. I showed you some of that, which was so cool.
That was very cool.
It's more immersive for me to do that. But, again, Andrew, that's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And it's the exact opposite of what Call of Duty Blackout does for me, which is I'm in a short attention span, sit down and chill and play video games. Red Dead is like, I felt like I need to get buckled, take a glass of water and breathe, and then figure out how to live and survive.
Yeah.
And there's some glitches, there's some bugs that we are still figuring it out.
Right. And I think that we tend to compare a lot of things, especially open world games, to Witcher. And I hate to beat that dead horse, Broach, rip. But
R.I.P.
I want to say that like The Witcher was fun for us because when we were burnt out, we would play another game, and you could, in like if we had an hour or 30 minutes, we could still load in and have fun. For Red Dead, I would say you have to set aside at least 2 hours to really get in.
I just wouldn't know what to do with any less time.
Right.
I feel like it would be ultimately a waste of time.
Correct. Because if you were to do something with that short time, you'd be killing innocent humans.
Yeah.
Which would then negatively affect your character.
Yeah.
So then, what's the point?
And let me ask you something,
Sure.
Andrew.
Yeah.
I would argue that the reason I like The Witcher so much,
Mhm.
instead of just a lot, is because you and I played a single-player game together.
Yeah.
And we saw each other's choices and decisions and journeys and ultimately helped each other, laughed, and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Today in Red Dead, you and I did the exact same quest at a different time of day in the game.
Yeah.
And the dialogue and choices were different based on the realism of literally visibility in the world.
Which is very cool.
And that was the first moment where I said to myself in my head, this game's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That just happened.
Yeah.
That because you heisted that house at night, because I did it leaning into the morning,
Right.
it was completely different.
Yeah.
And the game was prepared for that.
Yeah.
I would not have known that
Yeah.
if we were not together. And I think we have that unique advantage of be like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I almost
Correct.
suggest that to people.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because people are buying this game.
Mhm.
A friend of mine that I saw this weekend, he was like, a couple of days ago, he was like, I'm not spending $60 on a game.
Sure.
Ever. And then he texted a picture leaving GameStop.
Yeah,
and he loves it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a big thing, but I don't want him to be like, this tutorial is so slow, I'm kind of done with it.
Yeah.
I do think it's worth it ultimately to stick through.
Yeah. I think that to address your point about the kind of differences we experience, like I agree, like I think that is the best way to play the game.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times when you get, and this is not even Red Dead thing, this is a single player game thing. When you get a single player game, you almost want to turn off the lights, go offline on your Xbox and plug in for at least 6 hours and then talk about about it the next week. Whereas Call of Duty, you get on, you're in a party with 4 people, you're just talking about life, you don't feel like you can do that. I think it's different is like with The Witcher, there was enough fantasy elements of it that you could find, spectacle and you could find something to lose yourself in. This game is too real that unless you're sitting right next to someone and doing all of that intentionally, you're like losing something,
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm so glad that we got to do that because it like even hunting that bear, you had to stab it. I had to like find it in a different way.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful part of the game which I wouldn't have known. I didn't even know you could stab a bear because the first time I did, I died.
Right.
So watching you do that was like, it showed me like, there's so many different ways to experience this.
Yeah.
And it is nice, but comparing that to another game that is a little bit more grounded in fantasy and not grounded in real life, you can almost find yourself being more willing to like let yourself run free. Where in this game, it's just so real.
It might be too real. It might be.
It might be. And it makes you just kind of lose that aspect of like, I'm living in this fantasy world. It's like, I'm Arthur, and I have to wake up and make myself coffee, and then shave.
And you will become very slow, and the game will tell you, you're chilly, go find a jacket. I never in a million years would have guessed a video game would make me do that,
Yeah.
I didn't respond super well to that in the tutorial.
Yeah.
I said, "What? Like, no, I'm so done with that.
Yeah.
I should be able to go out and dress my stupid GTA character in a tank top, and then it's snowing
Yeah.
in Los Santos,
Yeah.
and I'm shooting rockets, and everyone's just having fun because it's ridiculous."
Yeah.
And what we are learning is, as good as Red Dead is, it is not ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is the realest video game I have ever seen.
Correct. That's not like a simulation.
No.
That's not like
No.
Office Simulator 3000.
Right.
This is like the
Right.
realest it's gonna get.
Yeah.
And so I think that if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, like, I would actually actively advise you to play it with someone else. Like, have someone there with you, because I think, like I said, like, the temptation to want to play it by yourself will actually affect your like experience of this game negatively. Whereas I feel like it wouldn't happen in a fantasy game where you could say, I can go and discover this, but everything's already discovered in this world, like in real life. So you just kind of have to experience it with someone else, which I think that a lot of people aren't willing to do, but I think that it would help your experience a lot more. So now it's just like, what about story? Like, how do we think about the narrative? And so what we're learning is, so we play Arthur Morgan, you're with a gang that had one bad heist, which they seem to want to drop in every line of dialogue, that they had one bad job, and it just affected everything.
Yeah.
And it's about the story of them moving out west.
Yeah.
Do we feel for characters yet? Do we feel for the story? Do we even feel for Arthur Morgan?
Right now, all I feel is the goofiness and silliness and the confusion. I don't feel immersed with him. The world I feel immersed in, but not him yet.
Yeah.
He might as well be a ghost, a shadow.
Yeah.
But the cinematics I love.
Yeah.
The TV side of me loves that.
Yeah.
Hey, this gang wishes it was 1850, but the United States government is saying, welcome to the 1900s.
Yeah.
You're done
Yeah.
living this anarchy.
Yeah.
And they say, catch us if you can. I think that's awesome.
Catch me outside.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But to start a tutorial in the snow where I'm moving 3 miles an hour saying you're going to get chilly, that is not a chase across the United States where I'm a rebel, right? And we're starting to see that in the campaign. You and I are, let's say 4 hours in, right around there. We're relatively close. Scratching the surface of what could be there for the story.
Yeah.
And I hope I feel more, because right now it's still like, look at this goofy side character. I don't recognize people yet.
Yeah.
You and I came across somebody in an article, we're like, who the heck is this guy? We had to Google him, and
Yeah.
then we realized, we just did a 20-minute thing with him.
Yeah.
That needs to change if I'm going to remember this game like I did The Witcher.
Yeah. I agree with you so much about the TV elements of it, because I think the voice acting is superb.
It's all flawlessly done.
It's amazing, and it's all written well. I mean, some blunders, some like weird dialogue that wouldn't happen in real life, but the voice acting, the character models are all just flawless.
Yeah.
And I like really enjoy the cinematic camera, and they had it in GTA 5, which I actually forgot.
Yeah, they did.
It's an option that you can go in, and it kind of zooms out of your character and it shows you the world around you. I think that it has never been a better time to do that.
Oh, it's flawless.
And I couldn't even describe it. Like, there was a quest that I had to do, and it was a bounty, and I had to go find this dude that was killing people, and I found him, and then he took off running, and he fell into a river. And I was riding my horse next to him with a lasso, trying to get him out of the river, and I just put the cinematic camera on, and I had a moment of like, I'm watching this wonderful movie, and it is just, and I can control it.
And that's one thing I respect is, say what you will about the problems you have.
Yeah.
Lord knows I have them.
Yeah.
But they are purposeful. They are purposely driven by Rockstar.
Yeah.
None of the things we have come across were accidents.
Yes. That's
and
huge.
I can respect that.
That's huge.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's why it's an ideological difference.
Yeah.
It's not Rockstar saying, whoops, we slipped. They're saying, this is the direction we took, and we went for it.
Yeah.
And I can respect that.
Yeah.
But as far as my gamer style of short-term FPS goofy silliness, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know yet how long I will stay.
Right. Yeah. I think that I hope to see it maybe kind of open up as it becomes more dramatic as a storyline. As you see your game kind of, because there's going to be a point where they like have tension in the midst of all these goofy big cinematic things. I wanted to ask your opinions about the combat before we kind of wrap up our opinions about the game, because we talked about story, we talked about looks, the pace, like shooting person. Does it feel more like a GTA shooting style? Does it feel like something totally different? Does it feel like a fist to
Yeah.
combat? Like, what are you getting from it?
Because the world is so real
Mm-hmm.
and so immersive, the combat feels out of place for me.
Okay.
Because I think it's identical to the clunkiness of GTA.
Yeah.
But in the world of GTA, it made sense, and I had no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm able to, and I started to do this today when we were playing, and I told you this, I said, I need to treat this game like it's GTA. Because it feels and looks like The Witcher.
Correct.
It feels and looks like freaking Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, correct.
But it's not. And Rockstar never said it was. They say, hey, from the, developers of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I got into my 5th fight or my 5th encounter, and I still said out loud to you, which button is punch? I still don't know yet, because while I'm in these fights, it's stopping me and saying, here's how to pick up your hat. Don't remember to, don't forget to get a can of beans afterwards. And I'm like, let me go. Please let me go. And going from a Spider-Man game where it's literally right in the middle of the screen, circle equals punch, triangle equals kick. And you can just go, okay, so if I go circle, circle, triangle, he's done. Red Dead is very much like, good luck to you. We're going to slowly get you to get punched less.
Right.
And you get tossed around. We were talking with Tommy. There's a learning curve.
There's a huge learning curve.
They put it there on purpose. I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
But the patience or lack thereof within me is like, let's go, dude.
Yeah.
And I would argue that you can't sprint or go past a jog for the first hour and a half of the game.
You can't.
Ever. It's not even programmed in the...
Yeah.
And now it's finally an open world game 4 hours in, and I'm starting to see it in a new light.
Right, and I think that with the combat specifically, I find, and this might be a weird comparison or analogy, but like to me, in games where you feel like the combat is really good, and this is like games with guns, so like Gears of War, Halo, Call of Duty, to me those games feel like almost like you're not holding a gun, but like the whole thing is one character.
Yes.
It's like a person with a gun. It's not like a person and then the gun is its own thing. With Red Dead, it's almost like clunky enough where like my character doesn't feel like attached to the gun.
Yeah.
It feels like I have to like play another game just to get the gun to do what I want.
Yeah.
When in Gears of War, you don't think about that. You're just behind cover, shoot, boom, there it is. The combat just moves.
Yeah.
With Red Dead, there's like a strategy involved, like get my gun to look here and then reload here. It's like it doesn't feel like one being. And that's where I'm like losing it. And I think that's where the fast-paced combat, the fast-paced games and our shorter attention span is helpful for those things because we like those combat systems. Yeah. But in Red Dead, it's just so real, and the guns are that old and things that's like it takes a whole other game just to get your gun to do what you want it to.
Right.
Which is crazy. And now I guess like my final question to you is like with this resurgence of single player games, story driven narratives, this and that, kind of the less about the Call of Duty kind of games and more about these third party, developers coming out with these story games. Yeah. What is the thing, if there is a thing, what brings you back to story driven games? Is it the story? Is it the world? Is it some weird combination of them? Is it the combat? Because I think that with any multiplayer game, you have someone that texts you, say, hey, play with me. It brings you back with Fortnite, whatever. Yeah. For story-driven games, I think there's a little bit of intentionality that comes with it. Like, I want to ask you, like, what brings you back to say, I want to load up this game right now? Yeah.
It is absolutely the world.
Okay.
Very rarely is it the story.
Okay.
The largest portion during which it's the story is the trailer reveals and the teasers, where obviously they have to explain a little bit. Yeah. Now, one of our favorite games, The Witcher, that we talk about a lot, that had trailers every year for 5 years. Do you remember this? Yes. Slowly revealing what in the world was going on. Yes. And that was cool.
It was very cool.
Very
Those
cool.
trailers were so good.
But what I love about the world was the horse riding and the world and the landscape and stuff like that. And so Red Dead, I didn't play the first one. Yes. I got no beef. Yeah. I got no preconceived notions, no nothing. Yeah. But that world, Andrew, we are like, whoa, that looks so good right now. Yeah. And I'm taking screenshots. I don't know how to shoot my gun. Yeah. I don't know where my horse is, and I don't know what animal I'm tracking, and I'm missing, a bunny rabbit with a bow and arrow 6 inches in front of me. But wow, that cliff looks so cool. Yeah. And that is what keeps me invested. Yeah. And again, the longer I'm invested, maybe that starts to bleed into the story.
Yeah. No, true.
Because right now it's character-driven stories. I'm meeting people, and it's so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And when that's paired with learning the mechanics, I can't keep all that. I can't learn all the characters and all the mechanics and
it's like homework.
This.
You have to have like a textbook.
Honestly like homework. It's role-playing game to the max. Yeah. Which is a good thing and a bad thing, and that's what these reviews mean. Yeah. That it's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. But is it? Yeah.
Definitely.
and I love it. I love that, and I am undecided on exactly how much I love it. It's great. It's worth the buy.
Yeah.
It is very good.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have some more thoughts as it goes on.
Yeah, and I think we will. And its legacy remains to be seen with online. It remains to be seen with the bugs. And who knows how the story ends? We might be like, I hated that. Like, who knows?
And then the multiplayer coming out, like, things are going to change.
Things are going to change. And if it's anything like GTA, we got nothing to worry about. And we have many years to enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely.
So it does not live or die in October.
Oh,
that would be the
lives way past
most foolish of responses. And so that's another motivation for me to continue to play as well.
Yeah.
But Andrew, this is our final podcast of our first month.
Let's just enjoy this moment right now.
Yeah.
We've done this for a month. This is it. This is the
have
end
you,
of
Have
October.
you enjoyed yourself?
I hate it. I love this, Caleb. Like, this has been so fun.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm so thankful for it. Thank you to those that have supported us. Thank you for those that join the conversation live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our YouTube. Enjoy the free content, and we're just getting started.
We're just getting started
On what we can do with this, and what we can bring, what we can offer. And I have so many ideas and so much vision for what can happen. I know you do too.
You guys don't understand. Like, when we're not doing this, we're just talking about this.
Yeah.
And like what we can do.
And the reason we're doing this is we did it anyway. Like, this is it. This is what we love to talk about. And you know, you can talk about Disney, you can talk about PlayStation, you can talk about Red Dead. I love it the most when I'm talking about it with you, and when you're able to say, whoa, you like that. So did I.
Yeah. And you know, my favorite part is just like, when I talk, I'm like, I just want to be playing these games, you know?
Yeah.
It gives me excitement.
It reminds you of your passion.
When I'm burnt out with video games, I'm like, oh, man, what am I putting hours in? I get into this podcast with you, and I'm like, this is why I love it, dude. This is why I want to play another couple hours of these games.
Yeah. No, straight up.
Yeah, so what can people look forward to next month and the rest of the year?
Yeah, man. It'll be interesting with video game releases in November, because we don't know exactly what we're going to buy or capitalize on.
Sure.
It remains to be seen as far as the AAA games that we feel kind of iffy about, like Battlefield and Fallout. But with Black Friday coming around, I want to talk about that and analyze the market a little bit on those games, and also see what our viewers are interested in and what they need at this point. What are they know playing?
More streams.
If they didn't buy Red Dead by that point, like, what does that look like? What are the deals going to be? We're definitely going to do more streams of games, more giveaways as well. I want to start designing stuff.
You said t-shirts? Is that?
Yes.
Did I hear a whisper about?
You absolutely did earlier in the show. T-shirts are coming.
Whoa.
Okay.
You heard it.
That is a passion of mine. I could do a podcast about t-shirts, but I'd rather just make a t-shirt with podcast stuff on it.
There you go.
So we're gonna do that.
Yep.
We're gonna have guests come on the show.
Yes.
So if you are interested in getting on the show, it's as easy as contacting us. You're pretty much guaranteed to be on.
Which will be fun. We're in talks with a few people for November.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you aren't one of those people if you want to join.
That's so many things.
And that is going to get you immediate access to a t-shirt if we design it.
You heard that here first.
And so we want to spread it. We want to share it. And we enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and also we've been we had a review up on the website for Call of Duty Black Ops. Check that out. Caleb wrote that beautifully. I liked it. So our style is trying to be more what we think and less about the score. We're gonna have one on Red Dead Redemption coming soon.
Yes.
If there are games that you guys want us to see us review, do a trial run of or anything, let us know. We can just get it from GameStop and return it.
Yeah.
I'd love to do these things for you guys.
Yeah.
So lots to look forward to.
Lots to look forward to. Our podcast Remastered is out, talking about all things TV, movies, faith, and anything that you and I just go on tangents on and want to talk about our passions. Our passions don't stop here, but we put them here, which is great.
1 month down, guys. Thanks to you.
1 month down.
We love you guys.
Video games are just getting started. The industry never stops, and neither do we.
And neither do we.
Much love.
Much love.
Keep gaming.
Peace.
We love you.